Before we get out of here, I want to ask you one really good question. How does it, like, in a nutshell, how can you explain being a Pittsburgh Steeler? Like, how proud do you feel to be a Steeler and what you've done for the Steelers and like leaving your legacy and as being a legend? What do you feel being a Pittsburgh Steeler?
I'm super thankful, super blessed. For me, Mark, all I ever wanted to do was play football. That was my dream growing up as a kid, and being able to do so for Pittsburgh, for that type of organization that has so much good history tied to it, was one blessing. But then continuing to add to that legacy and be a part of that was another blessing. I mean, it's unbelievable because the Steelers is an organization that is well known, that is recognizable, regardless of where you are. You can be here in America, as you talked about being there in Australia. You can be overseas in Germany. You can be in Mexico. That's an organization where it's recognizable, and people, gravitate to that because that organization is a sign of greatness because of the great players that came way before me. You know what I mean? With the great coaches, the guys in the 70s, all of those championship teams. Because, most people don't remember before the 70s title teams, Pittsburgh was inconsistent. It wasn't the juggernaut that they became. But because of what that group of guys were able to do in creating a foundation and a culture that we still have to this day, those guys are I feel like we should all be forever indebted to those guys. When you talk about Terry Bradshaw's of the world, me, Joe Green, the late great Franco, Donnie Shell, Mel Blunt, Lambert, all the list can go. LC, JT. Oh my goodness, Lynn Swan, Stallworth, right? Man, it's greats. So for me to be a part of that organization, man, I'm forever thankful, and I'm appreciated. I appreciate our fans, all the support, and I shared this with Pat P when he became a Steeler. I said, Pat, if you guys just start winning, the world is yours. It's like the world is yours, not just in Pittsburgh, but wherever it is you go. People recognize that and they show you love. Because one thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, we have a unique way of relating, being able to be relatable to whoever it is that's watching us, because we do things the way that most people do it, from the ground, getting your hands dirty, hardworking, not flamboyant, not, in a celebratory fashion. We do it, keep our mouth closed, and keep doing it again. Hardworking, right? The blue collar way. And majority of adults could relate to that. That's why there are so many kids that are Steeler fans, because their parents not directly forced them to be a Steeler fan, but that's all they see in their household. Because most hardworking people have that same mindset. Blue collar, got to get it from the muscle. I don't care about what comes with it, the glitz and the glamour and all that. I got to get it from the muscle. And that's how our organization was built. And that's what made it the way it is today. And, when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys of the world and the Raiders and some of these other organizations, no knock to them, but it's not the Steeler way. The Steeler way is the Steeler way. And our fans relate to that. And I think that's why we have such a large fan base.
Well, I gotta say, man, dead set. Just knowing you from the NFL Player podcast, I want to say a huge thank you to you, because you give us a real good insight, a great insight to Steeler Nation, to the Steelers, and you are doing tremendous work on your podcast and CBS and all these things because you represent Pittsburgh. I've been there 3 times, and it took me, I think, 15 years to get there. When I first saw Heinz Field, I was blown away. I was like, holy smokes, I'm here. I saw the game Steelers versus Ravens 2016 with the Immaculate Extension was insane. We won that. It was crazy. So, and I grew up watching you guys play in the 2008 defense. It was so much fun. And we can always go back and if we having a bad day or we're not feeling checked in, we put on a Super Bowl and we watch those highlights and they're fantastic. So on behalf of Steeler Nation in Australia and all the guys in the chat, over 35, 40 people in the chat, I want to say one huge thank you to you. And I really do mean that. I think it's fantastic the way how you played as a Steeler, what you're doing now with Pat Peterson and informing people about football and stories and just I don't know, just talking football, man. Like just like having good fun. So I think it's fantastic. And football's not going away. YouTube's not going away. You're close to like almost 50,000 subs. You deserve 100,000. You'll get there. So man, it's been, and like Michael says, work, work, work. Like, and people really appreciate your time and for who you are as a Steeler. And I'm sure if you walk past them, you give them maybe a high five or a fist bump, and a few moments of your time, because you've given me 45 minutes of your time. So I want to say thank you, BMAC. It's been fantastic. I'll watch this back because I'm a fan too. I'm like, let's go. Now I'm pumped up. Now I want to see. Now I want to see the Steelers go win no Super Bowl, man.
No question.
You know what I mean?
And the Super Bowl this year is in New Orleans, a great place for football. It's a great football hub. And, for our fans and the majority of our fans, I think the written rule when it comes to fandemonium, Mark, is this is the rule. If your favorite team in whatever sport it is, if your favorite team can win at least one championship in your lifetime that you could remember, you're not an infant, you're not a toddler, most fans would take that and run with it, right? I think that's the unwritten rule about fandemonium in regards to rooting for your favorite team. Most of our fans, if you're in your 30s, clearly in your 40s or your 50s, you've seen multiple. If you root for the Steelers, you've seen multiple titles. For our older fans, you're super spoiled. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy that there are a lot of people that really love the Steelers, got a chance to see the Steelers, hoist the Sticky Lombardi. And there are a lot of fans. If you talked about Cincinnati, think about for all the fans who've been cheering for Cincinnati their whole life.
None.
Never seen it. You know what I mean?
Never.
There are so many organizations that have never came close to winning Super Bowl, better yet playing in one. For our fan base, that's why our fan base is different, because most of our fans have seen a championship in their lifetime. You know what I mean? And for our older fans, they've been living a good life when it comes to cheering for football. So I'm just happy to be a part of that. As I stated earlier, in regards to the tweet, man, I rock with our fans the long way. And I know how emotional and loyal they are. And I appreciate that as well. And for you, like you said, we were able to get this done. I feel like in life, you're not doing anything in life if you're not helping other people. And if you're not being able to assist or be there for other people. I didn't know you personally, but you wanted me to come on. I wanted to come on. You know what I mean? Because at some point in time, I would love for someone to do the same thing for me in my podcast. And that's what I like about what I try to do in life, is help others. And it's not about giving money. It's all about time. Time is super important, because for you to take your time to interview me, for me to be on, we all committed to the same thing and helping each other and utilizing the platform to do so. So that's what life is about. Life ain't about just you getting all the glitz and glamours for yourself, but what are you doing to help other people so they can do the same thing to continue that same domino effect in regards to being successful? That's what we had in our locker room. We were a selfless group of guys that didn't mind helping each other. It didn't matter what position you played. It didn't matter if you was a threat, competition, or whatever the case may be. We all wanted to help each other, because at some point in time, your number was going to be called. And we need to make sure you're ready for your opportunity, so we can get to our opportunity, which is competing for championships. So that's what sports was for us when I was in the Steelers locker room, and that's what life is about for me. So, and I love talking ball as well. I know I told you, I had only 30 minutes. As you see, we went longer than that, because I'm genuinely enjoying this opportunity, that I have with you. So I appreciate the invite as well.